it was a good performance. He beat cleverly now. So now he called me out and I'm ready. I'm ready to fight and I'm ready to unify the title. For Andre Ward or him, I'm ready. It doesn't matter to me. It's great for me to unify and add another belt to my title collection. I want to unify the titles. This is my goal and that's what I want to do. Those are the words of WBC light heavyweight champion Adonis Stevenson. Stevenson is one of the most criticized champions in boxing today. And to some extent, it's justified. How on earth he's been allowed and permitted to delay his mandatory defense against Alida Alvarez for what, 2 years is beyond me. How is that even possible that you can delay a mandatory title defense for that long? Ridiculous. So people criticizing that, it's very legitimate. But people conveniently forget or, I guess, deliberately omit the fact that Adonis Stevenson did try and fight Sergey Kovalev back in 2015. There was a purse bid, and it wasn't Adonis Stevenson and his team that pulled out of it. It was Sergey Kovalev. People just seem to have this cognitive dissonance about that particular situation. They don't want to acknowledge the fact that Stevenson did actually try and fight Kovalev. I don't get it. You know, Stevenson did something previously, a year or so before that, which was similar to what Kovalev did, and he was ripped to pieces by the critics and the fans. But when Kovalev did something like that, I don't know, he gets a pass for some, I don't get it. So some of the criticism of Stevenson is legit, some of it is not legit. Now, people are saying, why is Stevenson calling out Badou Jack? You know, he never wants to fight anyone good. He can't really be serious about fighting Jack. It's very simple. Badou Jack has got a title. Stevenson only calls people out when they got belts. I'd like to see him call out some of the top contenders. Don't get it twisted. But I'm just telling you, it's very obvious why he's calling out Badou Jack. The man has got a world title. And also Badou Jack is, I believe, again, you might have to correct me if I'm wrong here. I believe he's also an Al Haymon fighter. I know he's promoted by Floyd Mayweather. Is he also advised by Al Haymon? I'm not sure. But business-wise, you would imagine that this fight would be fairly straightforward to make between Adonis Stevenson and Badou Jack. And Badou Jack has said he's willing to go Canada to fight Adonis Stevenson. Badou Jack doesn't necessarily have a particularly big fan base. He's not from the United States. He's from Sweden. Sweden is not a big boxing country. I can't imagine there are many Swedes who travel out to the United States to watch Badou Jack fight. So he would more likely end up going to Canada to fight Adonis Stevenson in a unification. It's a fight I would definitely like to see, and I believe, as I stated in a previous video which I made about this fight, I think this fight has a very good chance of happening. That's just my gut instinct. It just feels like a fight that can happen. The Andre Ward situation, as I said before, politically there's issues between Ward, well, Rock Nation, and Al Haymon. There's kind of issues between them. But with Floyd Mayweather and Al Haymon, I mean, Floyd's always been an Al Haymon guy. Or for a long time anyway, since he left Bob Arum and whatnot, he's been an Al Haymon guy. And now he's got his own promotional company. He still works very closely with Al Haymon. So, yeah, I think it's a fight that could happen. It's a fight I'd like to see. I'm a little surprised that so many people see it as, I don't want to say a foregone conclusion, but I'm a little surprised that so many people are favouring Stevenson so heavily against Badou Jack. Stevenson's an old man. The guy's, what, pushing 40? He must be like 39 now. And people are saying, yeah, Jack has looked good, but Stevenson's too powerful. They're just talking about Stevenson's power. You know, Badou Jack to me is a better technician than Stevenson all round. He's not as dynamic as Stevenson. He don't have Stevenson's one-punch knockout power. He don't even have the crazy long arms that Stevenson has. A 77-inch reach when he's only like 5'10". Stevenson was able to control much taller fighters from the outside, despite the fact he was much shorter. People like Fonfara and Tony Bellew, they couldn't compete with Stevenson at long range because his arms are so long and he's so good at using them. And, you know, Stevenson does have that advantage over Jack. But everything else, you know, defensively, I think Jack is better. I think he's better on the inside. He's been fighting a higher level of competition. He's been more active. I don't know. I think it's a very tough fight. I might lean towards Stevenson slightly, but not by much. I wouldn't be at all surprised if Badou Jack was able to beat Adonis Stevenson. In fact, I might even change my prediction if the fight gets made closer to the fight and end up picking Badou Jack. I don't know. Power impresses people a lot. That's what I can say. Because Stevenson has this punching power, a guy who's perceived to be as basic as Badou Jack is seen as maybe not having enough to take down Stevenson, you know, because Stevenson is this puncher. And it is true that punching power can make up for a lot of deficiencies if you are a big puncher. You can intimidate fighters. You can stop fighters coming at you if you hit him with a couple good shots early in a fight. And they'll be like, you know what, I don't want none of this. Fighters who have a better skill set than you can put them in their place and contain them if you're a puncher. But whether he'll be able to do that with Badou Jack, I'm not sure. You know, especially at his age. I've seen a decline in Stevenson. You know, I really have. He fought Fonfara last time out. I mean, it was a Fonfara that had suffered a knockout defeat. I don't think that was the same Fonfara that Stevenson fought first time around. That's just my view. So I wouldn't take too much from that rematch with Fonfara. But, you know, you look back before then at Stevenson's fights, and I've seen a decline. I think he's slower. I think defensively he's getting worse because of the fact that he is slower. And I think Badou Jack has got a great chance against him. I really do. So anyway, let me not waffle on for too long here, people. Let me know how you feel about this potential fight. Do you, like me, think that there's a good chance of it happening? Or are you a little more skeptical? Are you one of these people that think Stevenson don't really want to fight anyone? Actually, just to close out the video, I have seen some of the clips of Stevenson and his venture into the fashion industry. Stevenson's a funny character, you know. Whenever I look at him, he's a strange and amusing character. He's trying his hand at fashion, having a fashion label, and he likes all that kind of stuff. And there's some clip online, you can see him strolling down the catwalk like some like one of these fashion designers. Weird stuff. So is his heart really in boxing or is it in fashion now? I don't know. You let me know what you think, people. It's happening. I'm out.